I Am Legend. I swear, a lot of people talk about this movie, and I just haven't seen this. It has a lot to do with the pandemic. It has a lot to do with that, and why I haven't seen this. But I have seen The Omega Man, the film that came before this. There was also Vincent Price's The Last Man on Earth, which was before The Omega Man. So yeah, it's not that I don't want to see it. I don't know. I just feel very differently about it now. You know. I Am Sam. This is a great film. Sean Penn playing somebody with autism, a father with autism who is trying to win back his daughter. Michelle Pfeiffer's in here. This is great. Okay, now here's an underrated one. I Confess. I Confess is underrated because a lot of people don't know this one, and yeah, this is an Alfred Hitchcock movie you need to watch. It's like for certain Hitchcock movies everybody knows, and then there's some that nobody talks about. This is one of them. So Montgomery Clift plays a priest who hears a killer's confession, but he's a witness, and so they're trying to find him, but he has an oath to keep, and yeah, it's interesting. I, Robot. Now this is a movie I hadn't seen in years. All Access Collector's Edition, which is not on Blu-ray. Yeah, this movie, I have not seen this in a long time, but I remembered it was like a warning on artificial intelligence. And I remembered good things about it, so yeah, I'll rewatch that. And then we have the Ice Age movies, or at least the first three, the only good ones. The first Ice Age, I remember watching this when I was younger, and I thought, yeah, that was good. The first one's kind of good. I don't think it was... I think the series got overkill later on, but the first three, I still maintain are pretty good. At least at the time, they were decent characters, and Blue Sky was a relatively new studio. So yeah, Ice Age: The Meltdown, also known as Ice Age 2: The Meltdown. So I think this is the one sequel I watched the most. I don't know why. I remember watching this endlessly when I was younger, and I think this is the original DVD I had. But yeah, I'm introducing Queen Latifah's character and both. I think it was possums, I believe. And then the third one, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, which was, you know what? It was fine. Do not watch it in 3D though, because if you watch it in 3D, it's these stupid green and purple, maroon 3D glasses, and that's just horrible. I tried it, it's absolutely horrific. Man, 3D has evolved so much over the years. But yeah, the third one, it was fine. I didn't really have much of an issue with it. The only issue I had with it is that the sequels after that got progressively worse. I mean, this one you had Buck Wild, and I mean, he was a cool character, but I mean, it was weird how there's just this land of dinosaurs that's just literally underneath the Ice Age. It's just weird to me. I've seen the other ones. God, I don't even remember the other sequels' names. But there were two of them, and they were both terrible. Continental Drift was bad because it basically borrowed elements from the second one. And then the last one, Collision Course, was basically just the second and third all over again. And it's there's another one on Disney Plus, and I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I don't care anymore about these movies. The first three are good, the others are garbage. The Illusionist. I like The Prestige much better than this. I mean, both of them came out the same year. Both dealt with magic, both dealt with magicians, and one of them was infinitely better. Alright, next we have The Ides of March. This is a relatively okay movie. Great cast though. Ryan Gosling, George Clooney, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti, Marisa Tomei, Evan Rachel Wood. Yeah, it's one of those decent kind of movies. It's okay. not bad. Instant Family. This is a pretty good movie dealing with the theme of adoption. And if anybody you know has ever been adopted, or if you yourself have been adopted, it's actually kind of a relatable story. Mark Wahlberg, Rose Byrne, and Margot Martindale. This is I want to say it's a decent movie, but like, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember enjoying that one. The Interpreter. This is kind of a smart thriller directed by Sidney Pollack. It's been a while since I've seen this, but I think it deals with Nicole Kidman's character hearing something and misleads into a big cat and mouse game and cat and mouse chase. Nicole Kidman and Sean Penn. This is pretty solid for what it is, and overall, I want to say it definitely delivers for sure. In Good Company. I don't remember that one. Oh, this I've had in my collection for many years. In Harm's Way and Donovan's Reef, both with the Duke. Yeah, this, oh my god, it's been so long. I don't even know why I have this. I've had this in my collection for years. And, yeah, I don't know why I have this. It's just been, these are just two movies in my collection, but I just haven't gotten around to yet, which is weird. In Old Arizona, this is a very early sound western from 1929 with Warner Baxter, who was the first actor to win the Best Actor Oscar in a sound film, Edmund Lowe and Dorothy Burgess. Now, as far as sound westerns go, it's very primitive. This introduced the character of the Cisco Kid, and I don't think this has a Blu-ray release, but yeah, I mean, a lot of these early, sound movies, and some of them are pretty good, some of them haven't aged that great, but this is one of those ones that's kind of like in between. If you like westerns, you might want to check this out, but if you don't like westerns, you're not missing much. Trust me, you're not missing much. If you do want sort of an introduction on sound westerns, all I have to say is watch Cimarron. You have an understanding of early sound westerns. So yeah. In the Bedroom, this movie is amazing. Absolutely love this film. This movie was directed by Todd Field, who directed another great film we'll talk about later called Little Children. And this movie deals, this 5-time Oscar nominee deals with a family going through grief, and then then there's kind of like a revenge subplot. But it asks the question: is revenge worth it? And the answer is no. But like the movie explores these themes, very well, and it also deals with the consequences. So like it deals with the consequences of revenge rather than somebody just kind of dealing with somebody going through this revenge streak. But this is really well done. Great cast, good writing. It's good. Here's another movie that I recommend wholeheartedly. In the Heat of the Night. The Best Picture winner for 1967 deals with race tolerance. And I watched this for Black History Month this year, and oh my god. This is one of my favorite films. It's always been one of my favorite films, but watching it again, knowing what I know now, but watching it again, as an adult, analyzing film and kind of like how a story is told, this movie has so much more meaning than it ever did, and this is a fantastic film. Rod Steiger plays this bigoted cop who is forced to team up with Sidney Poitier, a detective from Philadelphia. Philadelphia. He's accused of a murder that he didn't commit, and so he teams up with the racist bigot cop to solve this case. And of course, this movie has probably one of the most famous scenes in film history if you understand the context of it. If you understand the context of it, it is one of the best films to deal with race tolerance and bigotry. And on top of that, it has fantastic cinematography, great score, Wonderful direction by Norman Jewison, and I believe it's got a Criterion release, so I'm definitely thinking of picking that up. But yeah, In the Heat of the Night, one of my favorite films. Imitation of Life. So this is a kind of an obscure one to you, but this I saw the 1959 one. This set has both the 1934 and 1959 versions. I've only seen the 1959 version with Lana Turner. God, this was a downer. This was a downer movie, but never saw the 1934 version, which is interesting. I should by now. Inception. Ooh, yes, Christopher Nolan. I should really get a better cover of this. I should get not one of these rental cases, but oh my god. A movie dealing with intercepting dreams and the subconscious or the conscious mind to get information, dealing, bending reality and dreams. This movie is just fantastic. Fantastic effects, great, really good story. Oh man, it's been a while since I've seen that. The Incredibles. Pixar. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. This movie I remember as a kid. Yes, it's still my original copy. This movie is easily one of Pixar's best, but like not perfect though. But yeah, The Incredibles is easily. This movie sort of took an honest look at superheroes and sort of molded it in a way where it's like, they've been in hiding because superheroes are outlawed and they have to get back into it. But I mean, yeah, Incredibles 2 was okay. It wasn't bad or anything. It wasn't anything. I mean, it was not great, but it's nothing compared to the first one. The first one will always be a good example of how to take, how to make a superhero film and sort of show their life trying to live, average, ordinary lives in the suburbs. And it's very airtight in how it tells its story. The Incredible Hulk, also known as the MCU movie you're not supposed to know about. No, seriously, this movie is the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just with the rights to this movie have been kind of just in limbo. Yeah, this movie, God, I haven't seen this in a while. I don't even remember this one at all. With the other MCU movies, I at least remember one thing about it. This movie, I don't remember anything from it. All I remember was that Edward Norton was Bruce Banner, and he was replaced by Mark Ruffalo. That's it. That's the only thing I remember from this movie. The Incredible Mr. Limpet. This is a underrated gem. I'm sorry. This movie is underrated. I don't know how many of you know this one, but basically, Don Knotts plays this guy who he's trying to get into the army, but he got a 4F score, meaning that he can't serve. And he wishes to be a fish because he believes that being a fish is better than being human, and he gets his wish. So he basically uses his fish abilities to help a navy. It's cute. I'm sorry. This movie's cute. It's funny. I actually saw a movie a couple days ago called The Phantom Toll Booth, which it reminded me a lot of this. This sort of, it's a nice family film with great animation, well done, pretty good story for most part. I enjoyed this one. I'm sorry, I did enjoy this, and I seriously wonder why more people don't see this because it's very cute. Next we have where is it? Oh, there it is. We have an Indiana Jones saga, and yes, this is the Complete Adventures, not that Dial of Destiny crap. This is the Complete Adventures: Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So this is the complete set. I'm hoping to rewatch all these. Because, yes, I'm planning on... Maybe I'll make a video on these. I haven't decided yet, but... Yeah, these were adventure films that were primarily based off of the adventure films that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas grew up with, particularly Treasure of Sierra Madre and Zorro's Fighting Legion. So there were a lot of elements from those films and film serials that were incorporated into these films. And yeah, I remember watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and being just blown away by it. That was like one of the best adventure films I'd ever seen. And then I saw Kingdom of Crystal Skull, and that was, I've always been a Kingdom of Crystal Skull defender. I always have and always will. Well, I shouldn't say that because I haven't seen it in a long time, so there's a possibility I may not like it. But I mean, I haven't seen Kingdom of Crystal Skull in a long time, so there's a possibility I may not like it anymore. But yeah, this is the Indiana Jones. Yeah, and I just don't care about these are, from what I understand, they're really great adventure films. I remember Raiders of the Lost Ark very well, being one of the best adventure films I've ever seen. But oh my god, why did Disney and Lucasfilm had to kill Indiana Jones with Dial of Destiny? What the hell was the point of that movie? That movie has been, as I'm recording this, has been a complete disaster for Disney and Lucasfilm. It has had a massive fallout, and there's absolutely no way that Lucasfilm and Disney can recover from this, considering that they've been flopping like mad. I don't want to... I mean, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. We should not be having this conversation. But we are. We should not even be having a conversation of Indiana Jones 5. There's just no possibility. That's like somebody saying, hey, let's make a Back to the Future 4. What the hell, man? This is a complete adventure. I'm sorry. This is a complete adventure. Although, to be fair, though, Indiana Jones ended twice. Last Crusade and Kingdom of Crystal Skull. What the flying hell? Oh my god. I'm gonna get into a rant about this all day. Oh, god. Okay. Yeah, this movie has been a train wreck, but the other movies are... I do plan on watching all of them in a marathon. I do. And yes, I am watching Dial of Destiny. And get ready for that. Scorn. Anyway. Rant aside, Independence Day. This is Roland Emmerich's... I think this is his first film outside of Stargate. Yeah, this movie... very well known, if you know, the famous scene where the UFO basically destroys New York. And yes, this was one of Will Smith's early films, definitely when he was on a roll with films like this one, Men in Black. Yeah, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I remember seeing it as a kid, actually. The Informant with Matt Damon playing... It's a true story of this guy who blew the whistle on illegal fixing of the prices of food additives or something. It's been a while since I've seen this, but... Oh yeah, but the illegal fixing of the price of food additives. Okay, yeah, I remember now. Inglourious Basterds. This was the second Quentin Tarantino movie I saw. This movie is more or less a World War II satire than anything else. It's not based on an actual event, although there were people who actually did this kind of thing during World War II, hunt down Nazi supporters or just Nazis in general. There were people who did that, but the movie has nothing to do with that. This was good. Brad Pitt, an Oscar-winning performance by Christoph Waltz, and especially that scene at the end, that shootout at the I don't know what it was, like a castle or something. It's a pretty good movie. Definitely an interesting one for sure. But not perfect, but it's fine. Inherit the Wind. This is a fantastic movie that I wish had a better release. This is a movie about takes place in a courtroom, and it's these two people are debating between evolution versus creation, a battle that's still going on today. Well, it's not really a battle, but it's more of a belief system. And Spencer Tracy and Frederick March, who both played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, now they're in the same movie. And Gene Kelly is sort of in the middle of it all. And yes, this is a really well done film that I wish had a better release. Directed by Stanley Kramer. Yes, Stanley Kramer. Inside Job. This is a good documentary about the global economic crisis of 2008 that costed people $20 trillion, and pretty much this explains how it happened and why. It's a pretty good documentary. If you're into sort of, these people trying to figure out, like, it's a pretty good movie. But there's not much I can say about that because I don't really know the specific details of all of it. So, but yeah, it's pretty good. Next we have Insidious. Yeah, this is the first one. I've seen the first two, but I think what makes this movie interesting is that, like the tagline says, it's not the house that's haunted. Actually, it has nothing to. The house is innocent in this case. It has a lot to do with this kid who like goes into a coma, and he's like I think he like goes into this other world or something, like past this. I think there's like this red door. Yeah, the red door was a very significant point in the film, as well as the entire series. Now, the first two films were pretty good. I never saw the other three. I never saw the other two. But, the first one, yeah. First one's pretty good. There is going to be another one coming out at the time that I'm recording this, Insidious The Red Door, which is going to be the final film in the series. Let's hope it's the last one. Yeah. Salem's Lot. I don't even know why this is up here. Yeah, this is basically Stephen King's take on Dracula, and I wasn't really a big fan of this one. I mean, I'll give it a try. I'll give it another try, but I just wasn't that big a fan of it. It just looked like, it looked too much like a cross between Dracula and Nosferatu. I don't know, but whatever. In the Line of Fire, this is a underrated Clint Eastwood film with John Malkovich. This is a pretty solid movie. Wolfgang Peterson does a good job directing this one, and overall I'd say it's a solid thriller, basically about a guy who's trying to kill the president for whatever reason, and it's pretty good. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, I talked about this in an update video, so I'm not going to go too much into it again. But just the fact that it got made at all after what happened with Heath Ledger, I mean, it's just interesting that it even got finished at all. And Terry Gilliam does a good job. And again, this is a pretty solid fantasy film for sure. The Insider. This is about Jeffrey Wingand, who he worked for this tobacco company, and he sorry about shaking, guys. I have a sofa behind me, so I'm kind of crammed here. But Jeffrey Wingand, he worked for his tobacco company, and he became a whistleblower talking about the dangers of the tobacco industry and nicotine and tobacco in general. And I believe it was CBS, I think it was 60 Minutes? Yeah, 60 Minutes, who reported the story. Next, we have the Inspector General. It was okay. You got Danny Kaye and Elsa Lanchester. It was okay. A lot of these public domain musicals are pretty terrible, honestly. They're not that great, but this one tries to be at least semi-tolerable. I mean, Danny Kaye is an interesting personality on his own, so it's acceptable, I suppose. Invasion of the Astro Monster, yes. Also known as Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. This is one of the best ones. This is easily one of the best Godzilla movies, primarily because this is the only one where he fights in space. And of course, there's that infamous shot of Godzilla jumping on the moon. It's absolutely hilarious, but it's awesome. Next up we have Invasion of the Body Snatchers. No, this is not the original. This is actually the remake that came out in 1978 with Donald Sutherland, Leonard Nimoy, Veronica Cartwright. Yeah, this movie, man, it's been so long since I've seen this. This is still my original copy, but I've had it ever since I was a kid. Since I was like 13. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but I remembered it was pretty okay. It was okay. I don't remember it that well anymore, but and I think I did see the Nicole Kidman one, but I never saw the original. So yeah, I do need to like rewatch this at some point because yeah, I grew up with this one. Invictus. This is the film about um Nelson Mandela befriending a rugby coach sometime I think in the 90s. I think this was after he was released from prison and after he became the president of South Africa. And yeah, this is a pretty good Clint Eastwood film. A lot of people don't know it's Clint Eastwood, but it is. It's well done. And again, it's one of these blockbuster cases. I might actually keep that one for nostalgia's sake. Oh, Never Midnight Movies. Never Midnight Movie Double Feature. Invisible Invaders and Journey to the Seventh Planet. I just like this quote in the back here. Invisible Invaders, a sci-fi shocker that'll keep you awake at night. No, it won't. No, it won't. Iris. This is a pretty good movie. If you never seen this before, basically it's about God, I'm blanking on her name now. Iris Murdoch. Yeah, she was an English author who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and her husband. I'm blanking on his name right now. John Bailey, yeah. Her husband, John Bailey, helped take care of her when she was going through this trying time. And the performances are great across the board. Judi Dench, Jim Broadbent, who won the Oscar, and Kate Winslet. This is a really, really good movie that actually deals with Alzheimer's very honestly and openly. The only other movie I can think of that actually did that was Still Alice. And I know this because my grandmother, well, one of my grandmothers had Alzheimer's. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, so I can confirm that they do a really good job of showing the realities of somebody with Alzheimer's. The Iron Giant. I saw this once many years ago, but I don't remember it. This was actually a gift. I just haven't watched it yet. Yeah, this movie was. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but I remember this was one of Brad Bird's earliest films, and I heard like really amazing things on it. So, The Iron Lady about Margaret Thatcher, who she led Europe. She led Britain during like very trying times, and she actually never. She did things her way, and she never allowed anybody to actually compromise her views. And yeah, this is a really good movie, but Meryl Streep, who won her third Oscar for this, yeah, do not watch this movie within a 1 week time span because you will be bored. You will be bored out of your mind. Yeah, it's but that is a good movie though. Somewhat accurate, but I don't remember. Iron Man. You know, the film that started it all, the film that started the MCU. We hold a lot of gratitude toward this movie. I mean, this was the movie that pretty much kickstarted everything. Kickstarted the entire MCU. Kickstarted an entire generation of people who grew up with superheroes in an age where superhero films were pretty much dead because like nobody knew how to adapt them. And here's a film that comes along and says, look, we can do it. We can adapt this in a way that will be appealing to everybody. And this movie did it beautifully. Robert Downey Jr. commands the entire MCU as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. I mean, this and The Dark Knight pretty much reinvented superhero films and pretty much gave us everything we know today. So it's all because of this movie and The Dark Knight, but we have to thank we give thanks to The Dark Knight and Iron Man for reinventing superheroes and doing it in such a uh, great and well done way. So, if it hadn't been for Iron Man and The Dark Knight, we wouldn't have had everything that we have now. Eye of the Dead and Bedlam, both with Boris Karloff. Both of these were produced by Val Wooten, who did a whole bunch of horror films in the 40s and 50s. And I haven't seen either one. Isn't it romantic? It's kind of interesting how this movie was sort of a parody of rom-coms while it simultaneously ended up being a rom-com. So it's a rom-com that made fun of rom-coms, yet it's still a rom-com. Or romantic comedy, if you don't know what that means. Rebel Wilson. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was fine. Oh, The Island. Oh, yeah. Still haven't gotten around to this one. Directed by Michael Bay. It's funny, I actually just saw Ambulance recently. And I want to say Ambulance was pretty decent. But, yeah, I still haven't seen The Island. Next we have two movies I talked about before on my channel. Yep, I talked about this before. This is actually autographed by Richard Thomas, who, that's him right there. That's Richard Thomas. Yeah, nice guy. You may know him from the Waltons. And I still think that the original adaptation is still good. To a certain degree. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's pretty good. I still think it's a much better miniseries than some of the other Stephen King miniseries that well, it's not really a miniseries, it's more like a two-part movie, in a sense. And then the new one, which I will always like the new one. I think I prefer this over the original, but it's kind of hard to say. I kind of prefer they're both good in their own right. I mean, this is basically the first half of the book, and I did see it chapter 2, and it was overly long, it wasn't quite as good, but then again, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy parts of that movie. But the first part of it is really good, probably one of the best Stephen King adaptations. I mean, Peter Skarsgård just steals the show as Pennywise. I mean, it was scary, creepy, terrifying. It works. Next up is one of the greats. It Happened One Night. One of the original classic screwball comedies, 1934, with Clark Gable and Claudia Colbert. But this is a very well done film, directed by Frank Capra. At times, kind of heartwarming about two people who just randomly meet and they're kind of stuck with each other. But you know, they do end up being involved with one another. But this was the first film to win the Big Five: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. Next we have It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Excuse me, I got something in my throat right now. This is good, directed by Stanley Kramer. I've been trying to find the Criterion edition because it does have the extended roadshow version, but basically sort of a comedic side of greed and all the things that people will do to obtain a certain amount of money to fulfill their own selfish ends. But some of them, like Spencer Tracy, he's doing it, he wants to find the money for a different reason, a very touching reason. But yeah, I mean, so many people were in this movie. Ethel Merman, Sid Caesar, Milton Berle, Jonathan Winters, Phil Silvers, Mickey Rooney, who else is in here? Joey Brown, Jim Backus, Peter Falk, Dick Shawn, Ethel Merman, I think I mentioned her already. Buster Keaton, Don Knotts, Zazu Pitts, Carl Reiner, Sterling Holloway, William Dermis, Peter Falk, Jimmy Durante. Yeah, this is a lot to take in, but it's zany, it's wacky, it's over the top. It's one of Stanley Kramer's best. I only saw the first half of it, but I remember seeing it many, many years ago when I was a kid. So I guess you can say I've seen it twice. But I do plan on rewatching it at some point, all the way through. It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite films. I don't think I need to say anymore. This is a very spiritual film to me, very meaningful film, and I recommend this to anyone. This is one of my favorite films in the top 10. No, top 5 easily. And this is my favorite Christmas movie. So, yeah, I talked about this on my top 12 best Christmas films video. So if you want to see that, if you want to see all the reasons why I love this movie so much, then go check that out. Coming up, we have Into the Wild, about Christopher McCandless who abandoned his life and headed for the Alaskan wilderness. The problem is that he look, I get where people are coming from. They basically glorified his adventure as like, victorious, but it really isn't. Like, it's really kind of sad, honestly. Yeah, Christopher McCandless was definitely daring and adventurous for sure, but in doing so, there were things that he missed, and the Italian Job. Oh, I remember that. That's Mike Wahlberg. No. This is the original with Michael Caine. This is the Italian Job you should watch. I'm sorry. Well, to be fair, though, that other movie's kind of forgotten about now. But, yeah, this is the only Italian Job you should care about. This is the original with Michael Caine and Noel Coward. When I first saw this, I thought it was like Fast and the Furious, but no, it's not. It's something else entirely. It's a pretty good film that doesn't have a Blu-ray release, to my knowledge. I mean, you also have Benny Hill, who would later have his own show, but yeah. But this is a really kind of a solid film for sure. Pretty decent. Ivanhoe, if you like Adventures of Robin Hood, you'll like this as well. This is sort of set around the same time period, or at least close to the same time period. Robert Taylor, Elizabeth Taylor, and Joan Fontaine, and George Saunders. This is a really well done film for sure. So again, not perfect, but not as good as Adventures of Robin Hood, but it's still